Hey, hope you're doing well. My name is Jimmy Fung and welcome to day 3 of the 5 days to $10,000 challenge. For those of you who have no idea what this challenge is, I actually put together a 5-day challenge. It's 5 different videos where I break down exactly everything you need to know and everything you need to do in order to go from $0 to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days with your own lead generation agency. So this video is day 3, where today we'll be talking about how to craft your own 6-figure offer. We'll be talking about how to create a high converting cold email campaign. And then finally, we'll be talking about how to build your own video sales letter, essentially taking cold traffic, warming them up with pre-nurturing assets and turning them into people who are interested in what you do and ready to pay you thousands of dollars. In the previous video, in day 2, we talked about picking a niche, and in day 1, we talked about setting up email accounts. It's very important that you watch those videos because every action item, everything I tell you to do is put there for a reason, right? You want to do these things in that sequence to ensure you're getting results the quickest way possible. So hope you find this video valuable. If you do, make sure you drop me a like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next challenge. See ya. Okay, awesome. Welcome to day 3. So today we will be talking about how to craft your 6-figure offer, how to put together a highly converting email campaign, and how to put together your video sales letter. So your VSL. And a lot of people, when they're thinking about starting or building their own lead generation agency, where they really struggle is this part. So in today's video, it's probably going to be the longest of all 5 days of the series. It's going to be super valuable, and hope you find it valuable. Hope a lot of your questions, your concerns get addressed, right? So I actually found this picture where it just says one cold email can win the game. And I think it's kind of true, right? Like it's half true, because it's true that if you're able to put together a really good cold email campaign, so everything about it is just good, the offer, the email itself, the VSL, you're going to cook, you're going to just make a lot of money, right? You're going to get a lot of replies, get a lot of sales calls, and hopefully you'll be able to close some of those sales calls, and you're just going to make a lot of money, right? On the other hand, a lot of people do struggle with putting together an effective cold email campaign, whether that's because they just have a poor offer, whether that's because they're just not following good cold email techniques, good cold email strategies, whatever the case is, right? So in today's video, hopefully in day 3, today's video, this will give you a really good guidance on what you want to do and how you want to put together a highly effective cold email campaign, right? So again, today in day 3 of the 5-day challenge, we'll run over exactly how to craft your 6-figure offer, how to write your first cold email campaign. In the previous video, we talked about how to pick the best niche and the best industry to sell lead generation to. And we also ran over how to build your leads list of decision makers. So as a recap, at this point of the series, here is what you should have set up. You should have your domains and email accounts set up, and this should be warming on smartlead.ai. If they're not, go and look at day 1 of the series. It's very important you do that first. You should also have identified your niche and who you want to sell to. And finally, you should have a CSV file of at least 10,000 decision makers in your industry of choice. We talked about that in day 2, which is picking your niche. So jumping right into crafting your 6-figure offer. So your offer is your message that you will use when you're reaching out to people. It's essentially a very short sentence where you're essentially saying, this is who I help, this is how I help, and this is the expected end result. This is the expected outcome. And if you have a poor offer, this is exactly what will happen. It will be very unclear who you help. It will be very unclear how you help. It will be unclear why someone would want to spend their hard-earned money and pay you, and no one will want to buy from you because whatever it is that you're selling will kind of just be perceived as low value. And this is why having a clear and irresistible offer is so important. But before we jump right into how you actually craft an irresistible offer, we must first understand why people want to buy anything. So I found this image. It's actually in Alex Hormozi's, his 100 million offer book, where he outlines the 5 reasons why people would buy anything. And this is an amazing diagram. He talks about number 1, what is the dream outcome that you're selling? Because people buy outcomes, they're not buying features. You're not buying a car because of the seats, because of the windows, because of the leather seats, whatever the case is. You're buying it because you like the luxurious aspects of the car. You're buying it because you like a Mercedes, because you like the luxury factor, you like the status behind the car. That is the end outcome of why you buy the Mercedes, not because it has 4 windows, it has leather seats, it's fast, right? Those are features, and people buy outcomes. The next thing is problems and obstacles. So people really only buy when they have a problem and they believe what you have is the solution that bridges where they are right now to where they want to go. And your solution is kind of the bridge in the middle. So problems and obstacles. After number three, you kind of just want to list all your problems as solutions. So whatever problem it is, you want to position what you have, your service, your product, as the solution. Number four is you want to help your prospects understand how they will maximize their value, whether that's maximizing profit, so making more money, or saving more money, or saving time. You really need to maximize that return. And finally, you want to offer a high value, high profit offer stack. So the more values that you're able to stack while reducing the cost to do whatever it is that you're looking to get them to do, the more likely someone is to buy. So this is a really great diagram that kind of outlines why people will want to buy anything. So understand, before you're picking or before you're putting together your offer, understand your prospect. Think about it. What is the dream result that they want to achieve? What is the ultimate outcome that they'd like to achieve from working with you, from your products, from your service, from your lead generation service? And kind of what's stopping them from achieving this goal. So for example, for lead generation, it's very easy to just assume that people just want more meetings. That's the service that they pay for, right? That's kind of a given. Whoever they decide to work with, whichever lead generation agency, they expect to get results. They expect to get meetings. But what is the real dream result that they're trying to achieve? Is it because their business is at $50,000 per month, average revenue for the last 3 months, and they want to scale to 100? And what's stopping them from going from 50 to 100 is maybe just a lack of meetings, or maybe they churn some clients and they need more clients. What are the real underlying reasons? You really want to understand these things. So how do we actually create as much value as humanly possible with our offer? So again, I got this image from Alex Hormozi's book. I strongly recommend you go and read it. The formula kind of goes like this: the dream outcome that you're selling times the perceived likelihood of achievement. So whatever that you're selling as a dream outcome, you could tell people, I will turn you into a millionaire, but people still won't buy because it's perceived, the chance of that happening is relatively low, right? You can't just take a random person off the street and tell them, I'll turn you into a millionaire. You can find a random person and help them build a business that will bring in 6 figures a year in income, because I don't think that's that hard. But if I was to tell people I'll take a random person and turn them into millionaires, the perceived likelihood of that happening is slim to none, right? And people just wouldn't buy the offer because it's just unlikely that result will happen. Divided by time delay. So the longer it takes someone to get to a result, the less valuable your offer is, and then obviously effort and sacrifice. So the more effort and the more sacrifice someone has to go through in order to get their dream outcome, the less likely they are to buy. And all 4 of these factors, it equals to value. So again, what is the end result you're selling? How likely are they to do and achieve the result that you are selling? How long will it take them to achieve this result? And how much effort and time will it take to achieve this result? So these are kind of the 4 variables that you always want to keep in mind that create value. And it's very important you understand this as you're putting together your offer, not just for your own lead generation agency, but down the line, once you have clients and you're kind of working with your clients to put together an offer for them as well. You really need to sit there, analyze, and really understand this concept so that you're able to help your clients craft an effective offer. So to expand a little bit further, here are the outcomes that business owners just desire whenever they're buying. There's really just 3, and this is what I've learned after taking over 1,000 plus sales calls, sending over 1 million cold emails. There's really 3 outcomes why business owners buy. The first one is because you have a solution that will help them make more money. You're helping them get rich, right? You're helping them increase the monthly revenue or the yearly revenue, whatever the case is, inside the business. That's the first reason why people buy, a very large driver. Number 2 is you have a solution that helps business owners save more money. So right now they're spending $50,000 a month on just random overhead costs. You have a solution that cuts their cost by 20%. People want that, right? Because they're helping them save money. And the third solution is a solution that helps people save time, that helps people buy back their time. Because there's 2 types of resources in this world. There's money and there's time. And when you have no money, the only resource you have is time. But when you're approaching business owners that perhaps have money, they have their needs taken care of, they have a war chest inside the bank account, maybe they're millionaires, whatever the case is. They're not stressing for money, though they have money as a resource, but the one resource they do not have is time. So if you have a solution that buys back their time, you can't even put a dollar figure on it, right? And on top of that, there's really 3 types of offers that you want to sell. This is not really specific towards a lead generation agency, but I figured this would be really, really valuable. There's really 3 types of things that you can sell to people. You can sell them a health offer, a relationship offer, and a wealth offer. These are the 3 underlying things that every person on earth kind of just desires. And if you really think about it, most products and most service fits into one of these 3 categories, right? And obviously for what we're selling, lead generation, for most business services, really, it most likely falling inside of the category of wealth, into the bucket of wealth, because you're helping people make more money. That's essentially what the lead generation offer is. So just to make sure that you have a strong offer, you need to make sure that you are selling on one of these desired outcomes. So if you're struggling to come up your offer, or even in the future when you're working with a client and you're just really unsure what to do or how to craft an effective offer, sit there and think about what your solution offers. Does it help someone make more money? Does it help someone save money? Or does it help people buy back their time? Because it's gonna be one of those 3. For lead generation, it's pretty clear that the outcome that business owners seek when working with you is to make more money, right? That's pretty straightforward, pretty obvious. How do they make more money? By you generating them sales opportunities, by you helping them generate sales calls using cold emails, right? So you're helping them make more money. So again, let's break this down further. You're making them more money. How? Helping them land clients. How will you do that? By booking them sales calls. How will you do that? By using cold emails. So with understanding all of this stuff and understanding the desired outcomes and how specifically we can help, let's start by crafting our offer. So what I actually did was I came up with this kind of like this template that you could easily fill in for most offers, right? Not every single offer, but 9 in 10 offers, you're able to group it into kind of this sentence and this template. And obviously you want to adjust it a little bit. And that sentence is this: we help niche get results within timeline without current pain points by leveraging our unique mechanism. And this is a very straightforward sentence that really is very specific. And this is exactly why this works. So with this framework, let's build it out together right now. We help recruitment agencies. So recruitment agencies over here is obviously the niche. We help recruitment agencies get 3 to 5 clients within 90 days without relying on word of mouth by leveraging our outbound organic framework. So the niche is recruitment agencies. The result that we're getting is helping them land 3 to 5 new clients within 90 days, which is obviously the timelines, their current pain points that they're struggling with. And this is why you need to be doing research on your niche, on your industry, because you want to be calling that out as part of your offer. Based on my research for recruitment agencies, most of them, they are relying on word of mouth. And that kind of sucks. Waiting for random people, for previous clients, previous customers to refer you new business, that process just sucks, right? Because you can't really control that. It's very unreliable. So that's a massive pain point that recruitment agencies have, right? That's the current pain point of relying on word of mouth. By leveraging our unique mechanism, by leveraging our outbound organic framework, which is obviously our unique mechanism. And basically anyone who reads this sentence will now know exactly who you help, the expected outcome, and how you help. So hopefully you see how to craft your 6-figure offer. So moving into crafting your first cold email campaign. So I found this image. It's actually an ice cube with a mail inside. It's melting because it's cold, right? Cold emails. So time to discuss the money makers, the cold email script writing. And this is by far where most people struggle, as it just requires the most skill, it requires the most dedication, and it requires research to actually become good at this, because writing cold emails is a skill. It's kind of under copywriting. It's a very direct response type of copywriting. And most people just struggle with this because they just never wrote anything in their life. The last time they wrote something was probably when they were writing an essay or a book report in high school, right? So most people kind of just struggle because they just don't really know how to write effective copy. But that's why we are making this video today. So before we write our emails, before we put our cold email together, we actually need to know who we're actually writing to, and we need to make it hyper specific to those people. So for example, we want to understand our ICP. Are we reaching out to CMOs of companies with 25 plus employees? Or are we reaching out to CEOs of companies with less than 5 employees? Or is it a CEO of a really large company with hundreds of employees that runs an IT company? The answer to that question will dictate who you reach out to, right? So depending on your customer profile, the copy will vary. So if you think you're going to write the same email to a freelancer or to a solopreneur, to someone who's just running the business by themselves, as you would the same email to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, that's not how it works, right? The email you would write to these type of people would be completely different. So in order to craft an effective cold email campaign, we must first understand our ICP. We need to understand their niche, their title, the employee count, and the typical jargon and the type of wording and phrases that are commonly used in a specific industry. So the more specific and the more relevant we can be with each of these details within our copy is what's going to create a high conversion of meetings, right? So obviously there's a bunch of different frameworks that you can use, but literally every single cold email that I've ever seen, it kind of just boils down to the following 4 variables. So obviously you have your intro line, you have your offer line, which we just put together previously, like 5 minutes ago. We have number 3, which is case studies, if you have case studies, or for your clients that have case studies. And if you do not, you want to include a guarantee, which we will talk about. And number 4, your call to action. And based on my data, after sending over 1 million plus cold emails and booking hundreds, actually, well, now it's over 1,000, booking over 1,000 sales calls, the best type of cold emails just really follows the following guidelines. So the best cold emails that I've ever sent that have just ripped and just cooked a bunch of meetings, right? They're almost always under 20 seconds to read. They're very direct. They're very to the point with next to no fluff. Every word that is written in that cold email is there for a reason. And because it moves the conversation forward, the focus of the email is on them, is on the reader as opposed to me, right? I did this. I am this person. I want you to do this. I want to do blah, 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 blah. And finally, your offer needs to be clear, right? We literally just crafted the offer. So if you're following the process, your offer should be clear. So your offer needs to be clear, and someone who skims your emails should be able to understand exactly how you can help them. So always write your cold emails from the perspective of assume that someone is, just driving or something and they see a notification and they click inside the email while they're driving on the roads. They're obviously not going to read in that much detail. They're going to skim it across 5 to 10 seconds. They're not going to, look down for 40 seconds to read your email. Assume that's what people are doing when they get your cold emails. So make sure that you're writing it in a way where if someone were to get your emails and within 5 to 10 seconds, they would just understand what it is that you're kind of just saying. So obviously, there are a bunch of different angles, a bunch of different ways that you can write your cold emails, right? For example, you can start your cold emails with a pain point related question, or you can start your email with a simple yes or no question, or you can really just play around with the format, move some of these variables that we discussed. There's a bunch of different ways, but fundamentally, this is what a successful cold email could look like. So, hi John, we make it unreasonable for software development agencies to not sign 3 to 5 projects in the next 89 days without relying on word of mouth by leveraging our outbound prospecting framework, and we only get paid on results. So as you can notice, this is very similar to the offer that we put together, except this time it's towards software development agencies. We're calling out who we're talking about. We're calling out the result. So we're helping them land 3 to 5 new projects within a timeline, which is 89 days, without relying on pain points, which is word of mouth, by using our system, our unique mechanism, and this is a guarantee, and we only get paid on results. And obviously this is a call to action. Call to action stands for CTA. It's kind of your next step. So you're inviting someone, whoever it is, to read this email to take the next step on the journey on the sales process. And obviously the next step over here is you're saying, I put together a quick video running through exactly how we do this. Can I send this to you? So back to the point, again, right? I said this like just earlier. You could write your emails in a million different ways. You can start with a different question, a yes or no question, a pain point question. But how do we actually mention a pain point inside of our emails? So first, what we want to do is call out the pain. We could do this by 2 ways. Number 1, either by asking a relevant question, or number 2, mentioning a problem that you noticed. And after that, you could then offer a solution. The best type of emails or industries or offers that I've seen works really well with pain point related questions are things where you're able to identify a problem just visually. So if you're selling websites and you're approaching a chiropractor or something, or a dentist, and you look at the website and it's just kind of not that good looking, you could call that out because it's just objectively not good looking. But it's very hard to use pain points for services that are more intangible. So for example, lead generation. You're not gonna know just right off the bat that someone is struggling with booking meetings. You're just not gonna know that. So it's very hard for you to lead with a pain point related question. But again, right, fundamentally, this email over here is a good cold email because it is direct, because it is to the point, because it has no fluff, and our offer is clear and it just takes less than 20 seconds to read. So this is a screenshot that I took. There's actually a website you could use. You could probably just search on Google text to read calculator, time calculator, something like that. And I actually copied this email in. I pasted it over here and it says that it takes 19 seconds, which is good because people will be able to skim it. And then another reason why people would respond back to this email, another major aspect of why this cold email would print meetings is because of the call to action, or call to action in this email right here. Because the way that most people send cold emails, the way that your favorite gurus, that people online actually teach cold emails is by asking for people to, asking people for a call, or asking people, hey John, do you have 30 minutes on Thursday or Friday to chat? Something like that. So they're asking for a call just right off the bat, right? And here is actually an image of a cold email that I received a few months ago. You can pause this video and read that. But what I wanted to talk about was kind of the call to action, where this person just says, can you chat later today? So after the offer, they're just pitching for a call just right off the bat. And it's very different from this cold email that we're using, where we're not pitching a call right off the bat. What we're doing instead is we're asking people for permission to send them value before we ask for anything in return. And the reason why that the strategy where you're asking for permission first will work better than asking for a call is because when you're reaching out through cold emails, what you're doing is you're reaching out to cold traffic. So what that means is you're reaching out to people who just don't know you at all and people who just don't trust you at all. So I want you to ask yourself, if people don't know you and people also don't trust you, why would someone who doesn't know or trust you want to take 30 minutes out of their extremely busy days to get sold to, right? They're not stupid. They know that this is a sales call. A lot of people, they hide it as a demo call or a consultation call. It's not, it's a sales call. And people know this, they're business owners, they're sophisticated business owners. They've probably been through hundreds of sales calls themselves, right? So they know it's a sales call and they're not going to just willingly give up 30 minutes out of their busy calendars, out of their busy schedules to get sold to. It just doesn't make sense. So what you need to be doing in return is you need to first give them something before asking something back from them, right? It's the principle. If I give you something, you want to return the favor and give something back to me, right? That's just basic human psychology. And we're leveraging that as part of this cold email strategy, right? And that's exactly why we are leveraging something called a value permission-based call to action. So essentially, it's just a very short sentence. This is how I wrote it with the specific words, but obviously there's a million different ways you could write this. I would say something along the lines of just put together a quick video running through how all of this works. Mind if I share it with you here? So what we're doing is we're asking for permission to send them value. And in a way, the reason why this will work is because it's just a no-brainer on their end. Because if they actually have a problem, the ones that you're calling out in your cold emails, you will be able to help them solve this problem and people will be intrigued. People will be curious. And following this, it is a lot less friction since you're just asking to give them value first as opposed to asking for something off the bat. You're not asking for something from them. You're giving something first before you ask for something. So a slight little difference. And using the value permission-based call to action, using this specific call to action will instantly skyrocket your reply rates. That's what our data suggests. At one point in time, I was sending a bunch of cold emails with a hard call to action where I was just pitching a call. And once I switched over to this call to action, my reply rates just skyrocketed. I literally got 5x more replies, double, tripled my reply rates on some of my client campaigns. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty insane, right? But again, right, fundamentally, there's a bunch of different ways to write an effective, good cold email. And as the saying goes, there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So I'm just sharing the strategies that I've seen works really well. There's obviously other people online who might have a different strategy or have a, they're doing something else, or they're just using a hard call to action, and maybe it's working for them, right? But based on the data that I have seen after sending over 1 million cold emails, this is the best call to action to actually do that, right? So again, there's a ton of room for creativity and for you to try different things and different strategies, but every successful email will always have at least two things. It'll always have at least an offer and your call to action, because your only goal with cold emails is to get a reply. And the largest mistake I see people make is they try to sell the entire service over an email. They're front loading their email with just a bunch of information and talking about how much it costs, talking about timelines, talking about X, Y, and Z, and this and the other thing before they even get a reply. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they first get into cold emails, because your only goal is to get a reply. Remember that. Your only goal with the cold email is to get a reply. Similarly, think about it like this. If you were out on a date, your first date, you wouldn't be asking the girl or the guy, you wouldn't be asking the guy or the girl on the first date to get married. And in the same way, you don't want to be just closing people over an email, because if you try to close people over an email, you're not going to get any results, like zero results. The same way how on the first date, if you just ask whoever it is that you're going out with on the first date to just marry you, they're just going to say no. They might not even say no. They'll probably just start laughing, right? And that's the exact same analogy that I want you to remember. So next time you're crafting your cold emails, just remember your only goal is to get a reply. And as you're building out your cold email campaign, you also want to focus on your follow-up messages, right? Because there's obviously a bunch of different things. What we're talking about is very focused on just that initial cold email, but you also want to be making sure that you're following up with your campaigns, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before we get into the follow-ups, one very important thing that I want to highlight that people just don't really talk about, especially about cold emails, is in day one, we talked about how you need to warm up your email accounts and set up all the records and all of that stuff to maintain good deliverability. But one thing that I've never really seen anyone else talk about is the second major factor which impacts email deliverability is the specific words that you're using, the specific messages that you're using. So when you're actually writing your cold emails, before you put them onto Smartly, before you start sending your cold emails, you actually want to run through your message through something like a spam checker. So essentially, after you have your cold email crafted, you're 90% of the way there. But to ensure you get maximum email deliverability, you also want to run your email copy through a spam checker. And this is because there are certain words that could flag the cold, just the email algorithm, which will lead to your emails to land in spam. So some of these words that will land you in spam is if you use the words like free, guaranteed, sales, and money. So if you're writing email copy with the word free like 3 different times, your cold email will just land in spam because it'll get instantly flagged as spam because those are words associated with spam. And you want to use a tool such as the Mail Meteor Spam Checker to ensure that your copy is clean and doesn't include any spam words. So here's a link for it. You can probably find it on Google. This is what that looks like. And over here in this example, this is by the default one, where this email copy just says, "Dear friend, I'm a financial consultant." You can pause that and read that. But as you can see, this tool, Mail Meteor, it kind of just flags these spam words. And if you were to write a cold email with these words, you're probably just gonna land in spam, almost guaranteed. So you need to make sure that any emails that you write, you run it through the spam checker. And if it gets flagged, you want to rewrite that sentence to the best of your ability. So that's the spam checker. The next aspect that's very important when it comes to bypassing spam filters and making sure that your cold emails actually deliver is something called spin taxing. This is a strategy. So after your spam check with your email copy, you also want to make sure you're using a strategy called spin taxing. And what this does is it allows you to say the same message in your emails while using different words. And the reason why is because if you send thousands of cold emails with the exact same email copy, word for word, what will happen is the algorithm will just catch on, and all of your emails will, again, it will get flagged for spam as you're just demonstrating, you're exhibiting bot-like behavior, which is kind of ironic because technically speaking, when we're using something like Smartly or Instantly to automate your cold emails, technically we are moving kind of like a bot. But obviously our goal is to make sure these emails actually land as spam. So we're kind of just doing our best to make sure we don't look like a bot. So to combat this, you want to spin tax your email copy. So as an example, when I say you're saying the same message while using different words, it would be an example of saying, hey John, or hi John, or hello John. You're greeting John, you're just using different words in order to do so. Your overall message is still the same, but the specific words you're using to say that is different. So essentially, again, right, you're still saying the same thing, but using different words to do so. You can also use this tool to come up with your spin text message. So it's called spintextmagic.com. And what I would do, this is personally what I did, is I took email copy, I went on this website, I pasted it in, and it sent to my email this image over here, where it just automatically spin texts. So as you can see, hi, hello, greetings, salutations, just a quick, brief, simple question. But you obviously want to proofread this and remove the spin taxes that just kind of make your sentence sound a little bit unnatural. So for example, I wouldn't even use the word salutations because no one uses that word in a real world scenario. So just ask yourself for these spin taxes, keep it as natural as you can. Don't use words that you wouldn't normally use when you're messaging your friends or when you're out for a coffee, a coffee meeting with a business partner. You wouldn't use the word salutation. So I would remove this and just keep your spin taxes natural. And if it's so spin taxed to the point that your sentence just kind of breaks and it just doesn't make sense, then I would just not use it at all, because sometimes when you over spin tax is actually worse than just not using it at all. So after you finish your initial email copy and you ran your messages through the spam checkers, you spin tax your message, what you want to do as a next step is add a follow-up message to your email campaign, because obviously success is in the follow-ups, and follow-up is key when it comes to outreach. So typically when I set up my own email campaigns, I set it up as 5 email long sequences. So email 1, which is kind of what we just talked about, is the initial email. Email 2 is a follow-up email. Email 3 is another follow-up email. Email 4, a follow-up email. And email 5 is what I like to call a breakup email. And as you're writing up your follow-up messages, think about it from the perspective of the person who receives the message, who receives the email. Are you giving them a good reason to actually reply back to you? Or are you simply just following up? Or, hey John, I'm just bumping this up. Hey John, have you seen this? Or are you using that type of messaging, right? I want to challenge you to write follow-ups that actually prompt people to reply back, because you don't want to be annoying in your follow-ups, and you always need to give a reason for the person to actually reply back to you. So as I was putting this together, I went inside my Instagram DMs, which is a little bit different because this is Instagram DMs, but I'm showing you this because this is an example of what you do not want to do. So this person made me a pitch. I just wasn't that interested, which is why I never applied. And he just progressively follow-ups with me over the course of, it's been like 2 months of him doing this, right? So it's not that I haven't seen this, right? I'm just not interested, right? But what he does is he just keeps on saying, is this worth the chat? Hello, he sends me a picture of Neymar and not interested ? And the reason that I'm not even replying back to him and saying not interested is because these are such low effort follow-up messages. It adds zero value to the conversation. And again, right, it's just super, super low effort. So this is your competition, right? If you come up with an effective follow-up message, this is the type of follow-up messages that most people are using because some guru or whoever they bought a course from told them to send a picture of Neymar, right? So even though, again, right, this is a picture from an IG outreach message, Instagram outreach message, this is the definition of what you do not want to do, because this follow-up message is super low effort and it does not drive the conversation forward. All it does is annoy the prospect. So when I looked at this, I just became really annoyed, and it makes me not want to reply. Even if I was going to reply at first, now I definitely don't want to reply at all. So that's the follow-up messages. Now for the subject lines, you also want to make sure that whatever subject line that you're using is short and intriguing. Try to think of your subject line as kind of just the headline for your cold emails. It's the first thing that people will see when they are driving and they get a notification saying they got an email. They're gonna see your subject line. So you want to make it create curiosity for your readers. What your cold email subject line should be is it should cause your prospects to be curious about your email and what you're about to say. And as a whole, this is generally the campaign structure and what it kind of just looks like, right? So I have email 1, which has the subject line. I have a follow-up 2, follow-up 3, follow-up 4, and then the breakup email. Now, one of the best parts about learning lead generation and selling it as a service is that the same process that you're using to land clients for yourself is a very similar process that you would then use for your clients. And this is actually a screenshot for one of the clients that I worked with at my own lead generation agency, who we signed in January 2023, where basically before working with us, he worked with another lead generation agency and he just wasn't getting good results. So then he started working with me. This guy paid me $3,000. He's based out of Toronto, but I didn't know him prior to that. I reached out to him over cold emails. And within 2 weeks after he sent me this message where he fired his existing lead generation agency, he mentioned to me that he signed 2 clients from the meetings we generated for him, right? He was able to sign VMware. He was able to sign Interlink Mortgage, right? And obviously, this guy, my client, he runs a recruitment agency recruiting for tech companies, and using this exact same cold email process that I literally just outlined to you, we were able to help him book meetings with VMware and Interlink, and he went on to sign both. And if you don't know what VMware is, again, right, search it up. They made $13.4 billion in 2023. 13.4 with a capital B, right? And the reason I'm showing you this is because cold emails can book meetings with literally billion-dollar companies, and that shows the power of cold emails and how it can be used to reach out to literally anybody, right? Whether it's a small company, a medium-sized company, or enterprise company, to generate and set sales calls. So remember earlier how we talked about how the people that you're reaching out to over cold emails, they're cold traffic. Meaning these people do not know you, these people do not trust you, and these people absolutely do not care about you. So with this in mind, if you were to reach out to cold traffic to sell them your service, sell them your product for thousands of dollars, you will quickly realize how hard that actually is. In fact, what I learned after, doing this myself, selling to cold traffic, is that it's actually one of the hardest things that you can do for your business, because you're selling to people who literally just don't trust you at all, and you're effectively going up to a random stranger, selling them a random service and making thousands of dollars back. It's one of the hardest things that you can do in business, because you're selling to people who don't trust you, meaning you're facing an uphill battle. And nonetheless, people are selling their services for thousands of dollars to cold traffic every single day. So even though I'm saying it's hard, people are doing it. In fact, there's a lot of people that I know, friends of mine, who are selling to cold traffic. And if you are able to do it successfully, I want you to stop right now and give yourself a pat on the back, because you are truly a talented salesperson and you just are really good at selling stuff, right? But if you don't want to be waking up every single day feeling like you're at a constant war with the prospects, you're booking these sales calls, and it's just, you feel like you're aggressively pitching, you're aggressively selling people, you're just pressuring and convincing people into buying something, there's a better way for you. And the better way is something I call a video sales letter, a VSL for sure, where you're gonna leverage a video for your offer. And this is why most people do not succeed with cold emails. And no one has ever talked about this. So I guarantee you, you will not find another person on YouTube talking about leveraging a VSL on cold emails. And the reason why is because I came up with this. Well, I wouldn't even say I came up with it, but I've just never seen it before. And I didn't copy it from someone. I kind of just tested a bunch of different things, threw a bunch of different stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And this is one of those things that stuck, right? So no one ever talks about this. And once I figured out how to do this, and figured out how to leverage a VSL for my own business while using cold emails, this is what my calendar looked like, right? And all of these awkward little things were obviously sales calls, because this process just worked so efficiently. So this is literally the difference between collecting cash quickly inside of your business versus struggling and feeling like you're scraping for pieces with your business. And this is what allowed me to go from $0 to making $10,500 in my lead generation agency in 60-ish days, right? So I wrote 22 days because the first time I collected money inside my business was December 1st, 2022. And by December 22nd, so 22 days later, I was at 10.5K. But I started my business in October 2022. So it took me 60-ish days to do that. And this is, again, right, what allowed me to collect over 150K cash in 7 months of 2023 and 300K plus over the entire course of 2023. And once I figured this out, it completely changed the game for me. Because similar to the emails where the only goal was to get a reply, your only goal of the VSL is to get a call, right? So I put this diagram together where essentially you're leveraging cold emails as the top of funnel to generate attention. After that, because of your call to action where you're offering to give them value, what you're sending them is a sales asset, or another word to explain that is a lead magnet. As a lead magnet, there's a couple different things that can be used as a lead magnet. You can send them a PDF, you can send them a doc, you can send them case studies, you can send them a white paper, or what I like to do is send them a VSL, where the VSL is you telling them your results-based offer, so kind of your offer, who you help, how you help, the expected end result, your guarantee. And what you're doing is in your cold emails is you're not asking people for time on the calendar. You're asking for people for permission to send them an asset that will teach them, that will educate them, that will give them a new insight. And inside that sales asset, inside your VSL, you're delivering as much value as you humanly can in, let's say, a 20 to 30 minute educational style video. Because what you're doing is you're using cold emails to drive attention, which is eyeballs. You're driving eyeballs to your VSL where you do a lot of the selling. And inside that VSL, if you're doing this process correctly, you're going to be showing authority and expertise in your offer. You're going to be showcasing your personality, because people buy from other people. People are not buying from robots. They're not buying from AI. They want to buy from other people. And you're able to showcase your personality through a video. And you're not able to do that over an email. And you're building trust with your audience as well. And obviously your call to action is a call, right? So here is how you can integrate a VSL into your cold email process. Again, write your cold emails. So this is your email sequence with a value call to action. You're inviting people to ask for your sales asset. Mind if I share a quick video running over how this works? You're inviting someone to say yes, basically, right? Once that prospect says yes and you reply, you're going to be sending them the VSL, a lead magnet, which you probably want to put onto YouTube. So the other day, I actually got a YouTube comment where someone asked me, is it better to put their VSL on Loom, on Wistia, or put it onto YouTube? So for me, I personally put my VSL on Loom at first, but then after like a week or like a week and a half, I decided to move it onto YouTube. And the reason why is because on YouTube, you're able to build additional credibility in a way that you're not able to do using Loom or Wistia or Vimeo. And the reason why is because, let's say you send your prospects a really valuable VSL. They like what you have to say. They think you're very well spoken. They think you're very smart and all of these things. The next logical step that they will do is click inside of your YouTube channel and see what else is there. And if you're able to come up with additional pieces of content that's just talking about business, talk about sales, talking about marketing, just in general, you don't even need 100 videos. You're probably good with like 3 to 5. This is additional content that will nurture your prospects and just warm them up even further and make them want to work with you. And by the time they jump onto the sales call, they're extremely nurtured and want to buy whatever it is that you're selling, buy your lead generation services, right? That's why I put all my VSLs on YouTube specifically for that reason, because of the social proof. And for Loom, for Vimeo, for Wistia, you're not able to do that. It's just a single video. So obviously the prospect will watch the VSL, and if they're interested and feel like you can help them, they're gonna book a time on your calendar and obviously your sales call. And maybe right now you might be saying to yourself, you might be listening to me explain to you the value of the VSL, and you might be saying to yourself, oh, I don't have a nice camera, or I don't have a mic, or I'm just kind of shit at talking. Well, understand that my very first VSL was pretty bad. It was kind of complete garbage. I filmed it off my laptop webcam, the built-in mic, and I didn't even edit the video. I got too lazy and I didn't even edit the video. And even though it was terrible, I ran with that VSL and it just printed sales calls for me just left and right. And inside the VSL, I talked about the benefits of my lead gen services in the initial cold emails. And the call to action is, mind if I share a quick video with you showing how this works. I'm just gonna open this up and maybe you can see it. Testing the channel. So this is actually the VSL here. It's actually hosted on my YouTube channel. I'm just gonna close out of this. And then hopefully you can see, right? So I posted this on November 27, 2022. And this was my VSL that I used for my cold email sequence. And this is my first VSL. And as you can see, I'm just here in the corner. My hair was really messy. I look really young. I look like a kid here. I had, all my bookmarks and stuff like that just chilling inside the video as well. And there's just no editing. So that's what my first VSL looks like. And that's, it still cooked and it still got me really great results. So this VSL, it just cooked and I printed meetings left and right. and I was able to sign a bunch of clients from my own lead generation agency. And I ran a VSL for my clients, a very similar VSL, not the exact same, for clients in a bunch of different industries, and it just kind of works every single time. So I've worked with clients in the marketing agencies, in SaaS companies, with recruitment, in logistics, in accounting companies, in coaches and consultants, and running a VSL similar to the one that I just explained to you, I was able to get them really great results. So if you like making money, then you need to add this into your email, your cold email outreach, and your process. And again, right, if you do this process correctly, what will happen is you will be able to sell your service without talking to people. Well, obviously, you still want to do it over a sales call because you're selling something for a high ticket price. And it's very unlikely that someone will just randomly pay you $3,000 without talking to you about it. That's just not how it works. But if you have a great video sales letter, everything else can be terrible, figure of speech, not, you can't just write some random BS on the email. Otherwise, no one will even find your VSL. But a lot of other things could be not that good and your funnel will still convert like a champ. If you use the VSL correctly, you will be able to warm up your prospects before the call and significantly shorten the sales cycle length. You'll be able to qualify your leads since leads are educated before they book in for a call. And if you pair this up with a strategy that puts thousands of eyeballs onto your VSL, which obviously is cold emails, then you will just make it rain. And basically, the VSL is the process that will take cold traffic, so cold traffic, right? Cold traffic, so people who don't know you, people who don't trust you, and turn them into people who are warm, who are just hot, warm leads, right? Meaning people who now know what you do, people who understand how you can help them, and people who now trust and like you. And again, right, this is the secret sauce, and this is why most people struggle with cold emails. So whenever someone tells me, because I talk to a lot of people every single day, and someone says to me, hey Jimmy, I sent thousands of cold emails and I haven't really booked sales calls, or I've sent thousands of cold emails and I got one meeting, whatever the case is, right? I always ask them, okay, so sounds like your cold email process just isn't working that well. It's not that efficient. Are you leveraging a VSL? Are you leveraging a sales asset? And every time I ask them, they always look at me and say, what's that? Right? What's a VSL? Never heard of that, right? And I have never, again, right? I've never ever seen anyone else online talk about using a VSL for cold emails. And once I figured this part out, I have never sent a single cold email for myself or my clients without leveraging one, right? And the way I learned this, just to give you some background context, is a lot of people leverage VSLs when they're running ads. So they're running Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube ads. And what they'll do is they'll ask people to click on that ad to go onto the funnel, give their emails, give their phone numbers, give some form of information, and in return, give them a video training that talks about X, Y, and Z. That video training is the VSL, and people always use it for ads. And I think I was just like browsing randomly on a random night on YouTube, and I noticed that the VSL for ads is just working really well because literally everyone's using it. So I figured, if it's working so well for ads, why don't I try it for cold emails? Because cold emails is an alternative way to generate traffic for your offer. The same way that ads, all it does is put eyeballs onto your business, where your VSL explains to random people what you do, who you are, how you help them, what your service or product is. I figured, since cold emails was not the same, but the purpose of it is relatively similar to paid ads, which is to just generate traffic and generate eyeballs for your business, I figured it might work, and I tried it, and obviously it did. So jumping into the actual VSL structure. So this is how I would personally recommend you structure your VSL. So the very first thing that you want to do is you want to start with a headline. So you would say something like how recruitment agencies can get X, Y, and Z result. This is obviously the offer that we put together in the cold email sequence. The reason we're using this is because it's just such a killer line, which explains to people what you do, who you help, and how you help, tangible end results, stuff like that. You want to talk about that in the headline. The topic, I strongly recommend you talking about something educational, teaching people stuff, because when you're first starting out and you do not have case studies, it's going to be very hard for you to turn a random person and get them to pay you money because you don't have proof that what you're selling works. So the only way to build up that credibility and get people to buy from you is because they perceive you as the expert. So how do you get people to perceive you as the expert? Well, the answer is by teaching them, right? If you're teaching people insights that they just never previously heard about, or they just didn't previously know about, then you're gonna be positioned as an expert. So for the VSL, I strongly recommend you make it more educational style focused. And that would be the topic. So obviously, just right off the top, you want to do some qualifying, because not every single person that watches your VSL and not every single person that you'll reach out to will be qualified for your offer. If you're trying to reach out to marketing agencies because you help them generate leads, maybe a gym owner will watch this video, and because of what you're talking about in your VSL, it will qualify that gym owner, and basically they'll know that this offer is not for them. So you want to qualify people. You want to say something like, this video is for you if you run a recruitment business, if you want to add an automated system that will get you XYZ results, if you have the capacity to sign 3 to 5 new clients in the next 90 days, this is for you if the vast majority of your current sales opportunities come from word of mouth and referrals. But this video is not for everyone. This is not for you if you don't run a recruitment business, if you don't run a business in North America, in UK, in Australia, in New Zealand, if you don't have the capacity to sign new clients, if you don't believe cold emails work, or if you think that cold emails is spamming or illegal, right? You're just doing some basic qualifying. You then want to jump into a short little intro on who you are, short little elevator pitch. Don't ramble on for like 5 minutes. Talk about, oh, my name is Jimmy, I'm doing this, blah, blah, blah. You don't need to do that. Just a very short elevator pitch on who you are, the name of your company, and who you help. And after that, the meat of your process is the step-by-step process, where you kind of just want to focus on teaching people and giving away the sauce. You want to provide real value and not just random high-level explanations, because people don't learn anything if you just go high level. You need to kind of go in detail, right? And what you want to do, what I learned, is you want to use illustrations to keep the viewers engaged so that you're better able to explain your steps and make sure people just don't get bored halfway through your video and click off. So how you want to explain your steps is, number one, you obviously want to explain what the step is and how you implement it. So if someone wants to build a cold email system for their business, what are the key steps they need to take to get there? What is the steps and how do you do it? Why is this step important? And then what happens if you don't do this step correctly or you don't implement it correctly, right? So that's how you explain it. And then moving into your call to action, what you want to do is, as Alex Hormozy always says, is you give away the information and you sell the implementation. Because again, what I have found after just working with 50 plus clients for my own lead generation agency is oftentimes business owners are paying me not because they don't know about cold emails or not because they can't do it themselves, but they're paying me because they don't want to do it themselves. They could obviously go on YouTube, watch this video and learn how to do cold emails themselves, build an offer for themselves, but they just don't have the time. One of the key outcomes that we talked about earlier, or they just don't want to because the process sucks, or they're just doing other things that just will result in them making more money than learning how to send cold emails. That is the reason why clients will pay you thousands of dollars for your lead generation service. It's not necessarily because you will get them, meetings. That's a granted. They're paying you for that. But the key underlying reason is because of some of the other things that we just talked about. So you're going to be calling out that inside your VSL, and you're going to say something along the lines of, so in this video, this is everything you need to know about how to add a cold email system inside your business. And if you want our help, where we will build out this cold email system for you, completely done for you, you don't have to lift a finger, then we will do this for you. We are the best lead generation agency for you. So that's what you're doing. And if you do this process correctly, again, because you're teaching people, you're actually teaching people stuff, right? This will not work if you're just talking about things at a super high level. It will not work. I'll repeat that. It will not work. If you're actually teaching people, you will be positioned in people's mind as authority because you're actually teaching them something they did not previously know, and you're giving them new insights. So therefore, you're the expert. So that's the VSL. That's the VSL structure. Here's the KPIs. So as you're going through this process and you're crafting your offer, you're writing your cold email campaigns, you're putting together your VSL, as a word of caution, right? You're probably going to need to do this a couple of times. It's very unlikely, especially if you're doing this by yourself, that the very first offer you write will work. It's very unlikely that the very first cold email campaign you will put together will work. It's very unlikely the very first VSL that you do will work, right? That's just not how it works. If you think about it, think about the first time you drove a car, right? The very first time you turned on that car and you shifted it into reverse or to drive the car forward, and then you got to a parking spot and you needed to park. You probably struggled with parking. You may have missed the parking spot. I know I did, shamelessly, right? You might have missed the parking spot or parked too close to the guy next to you, whatever the case is. The exact same thing applies here. The more you do this, the better you will become. And the first time you do it, you probably kind of suck, right? That's just the truth. And here is kind of like a benchmark, just to give you a better idea as to what you want to aim for as you're progressing and you become better at this. Generally speaking, when you're sending emails, you want to aim for an open rate of at least 50%. If it's below that, you have a deliverability issue. Beyond that, you want to aim for a reply rate of somewhere between 6 or 7%. Because if you are not getting that and you're getting like 2% reply rates, it means what you're saying is just bad. Your offer either sucks, or the messaging sucks, or the people that you're reaching out to just isn't the right people, right? You're reaching out to the wrong people. You're reaching out to realtors while you're talking about something from marketing agencies, right? You're reaching out to the wrong people. After that, your VSL rate should be 1 to 2% minimum. So the people that you reach out to, they should be looking to watch that VSL or that sales asset for at least 1 to 2% of them. And if it's not, it means your sales asset is just not compelling enough, or you're not solving a large enough problem where people actually want to get that solved. The meeting book rate should be around 1 meeting per 1,000 emails sent. That's kind of the bare minimum. And if you're below that, so if you sent like 3,000 emails and you don't even have one single booked meeting, then your process is kind of broken and you need to go through this part and just kind of figure that out. So if your campaign is not hitting these KPIs, you have a lot of work to do and you have a lot of tweaking to do. So that's basically the video. That's basically day 3 of this 5-day challenge. As an action step, so I have 4 action steps for you, and there's gonna be a lot of work here. But if you want to make money and you don't want to take 6 months to do this, you need to do this. The first thing you want to do is craft your own 6-figure offer using the offer creation framework. I'd say this will probably take you somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour. Maybe a little bit longer, but 30 minutes to an hour, I'd say. The second thing you want to do is craft your initial cold email sequence. You will probably spend 2 to 3 hours doing this, and you might struggle to come up with the ideas. I think that's pretty common for a lot of people. So take your time, right? The third thing you want to do is build out your VSL. And again, this is a pretty time-consuming activity. It's probably gonna take you 2 to 3 hours just to script it out and then record it. Depending on how comfortable you are on camera, it might take you more than 1 try to record it in whole, right? So that might take a while. And then finally, film your VSL, which will probably take you another 1 to 2 hours. In terms of length, I wouldn't focus too much on length because a lot of people ask me how long should their VSL be. My answer is always, don't focus too much on it. Keep it reasonable. Obviously, if you're filming a 3-hour long VSL, people aren't gonna watch the whole thing. That's pretty common sense. But if your VSL is too short, so if you're making a VSL and it's like 5 minutes long, you're probably just not going to that much detail and you're not really teaching people anything. So keep that in mind. Just go on for as long as reasonably makes sense. So that's pretty much today's video. This is day 3 of the 5-day challenge where we went over the offer, the cold email campaign, and the VSL. Hope you found this video valuable, and I'll see you in day 4 of the challenge where we will be talking about sales. See ya.